So today I'm going to be reviewing the new album by Metal Church called Congregation of Annihilation. This is an album I have been anticipating for a long time. I've been a fan of this band for many years. This band also lost a few members over the years, so I would also be mentioning them as a tribute. I'm going to talk about what the critics thought of the album. I'm going to go through the songs like I always do, and I'll give a final score at the end, so let me get right into it. So this is their 13th studio album, released on May 26, 2023 through Rat Pack Records. This is the first album with a new vocalist. His name is Marc Lopes, and he joined in summer of 2022, replacing the late Mike Howe. So the album has 11 songs, 2 bonus tracks, and the album is about 49 minutes long. The album was produced by Kurt Vanderhoof. He is the guitarist and founder of the band Metal Church. And the album artwork, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a classic Metal Church. It was created by Jean-Michel. And if you look in the center, I'll do a close-up of it right now, but you can see that classic Gibson Explorer. That was on their debut album and a few of the other ones over the years. So I thought that was pretty cool. So let's talk about Mike Howe. He was the singer. He was actually on the first album I ever bought from this band called A Blessing in Disguise, and then he was on a few albums after that, and then he kind of took a break and came back to the band. But he passed away on July 26, 2021 at his home in Eureka, California. So he was 55 years old, and the cause of death the official term was asphyxia due to hanging. So it was really a sad loss because he was fairly young. He suffered from depression, and it was really sad because he had a wife and 2 sons, and he was also the second vocalist of Metal Church to die. The other one was David Wayne in 2005, and I'll be talking about him in a minute. So this band, Metal Church, seems to kind of, they've had some hardships over the years. So these are the other members who passed away. So the original vocalist, his name is David Wayne. He was on the first 2 albums, and then he rejoined the band in 1998. He was on one more album. He died May 10th, 2005 from a car accident. He was also young, 47 years old. And recently, this happened just a few days ago. Kirk Arrington, he was the drummer from 1983 to 2006, and he died May 22nd, 2023 from a heart attack. He was 61. Now, this drummer I remember very well because when I bought that album, A Blessing in Disguise, I used to listen to the songs. And I had those remember those old headphones with the 2 foam earmuffs and the piece of metal that went over your head. I had one of those, and I listened to this album, and they had this cool drum intro. It was the song "Rest in Pieces," and you could hear the drum beat go back and forth between your ears. I always thought that was really cool. But I just wanted to pay tribute. So now let me get more into this band and the current album. So let's talk about the current lineup. Kurt Vanderhoof, he's the founder and the guitarist. He's pretty much been there since the inception. I think he took a short break in '86, but he's really the constant member. Steve Unger is on bass. He joined in 2003. Rick Van Zandt, he's the lead guitarist. He joined in 2008. Stet Howland is on drums. He joined in 2017. And the new vocalist, Marc Lopes, he just joined very recently after Mike Howe. So that's the current Metal Church lineup. So I did some research before going into this review. I found some reviews online. So I'll just give you some of them. We have an Angry Metal Guy gave the album a 2.5 out of 5, saying there are decent moments to be found, but the cons outweigh the pros. So he also praised Marc Lopes' voice and range, but did criticize his tendency to kind of oversing and the lack of memorable songs. And Headbanger's Lifestyle gave the album a positive review, saying that Metal Church report back to the metal front with a big bang indeed. So this reviewer complimented the band's return to their early sound and Lopes' energy and fury. And Listen Iowa gave the album a favorable review, saying Congregation of Annihilation stands shoulder to shoulder with the band's self-titled debut or the monumental follow-up The Dark, which sent the band to a global stage. So this reviewer admired the band's resilience and aggression. So it seems the album kind of received like mixed to positive views from the fans. So now, finally, let's talk about the songs. First two songs are bangers. They're very energetic and fast-paced. So Another Judgment Day, and then a title track, Congregation of Annihilation. So Another Judgment Day, lots of fast-paced drumming, galloping guitar riffs, dissonant guitar sound, and vocal screams. And then the title track is a little more on the thrash metal side. Some of the vocals reminded me of like that Rob Halford, a lot of those screams, the old school sound, and kind of like there's this one mosh part there. Now, the next few songs, I think like this is like my favorite part of the album. These next songs are the ones that I like the best. So the first single, Pick a God and Pray, I thought that was a very like a catchy song. It was memorable. The guitar riff reminded me of like classic Slayer, had that galloping sounds, that old school thrash metal riffs and the pounding drum beat. And then the next few songs I really like. Children of the Lie. It starts very like fast and heavy. They have some different vocal styles, chugging, power chords, like the distorted vocals, then the melodic guitar. But then it has this like breakdown where it just has this like atmospheric bass guitar and these guitar solos, and there's more like these keyboards in the background. That really made the song stand out. So it's one of those like breakdowns when you listen and kind of like get those like goosebumps on your arms. That was like pretty cool. And then Me the Nothing, another one where they kind of start like slow and atmospheric, and then they kind of like pick it up a little bit with the mix of the clean guitars and the distorted. So when you're listening, you can hear like both cleans and heavy guitars. They do some like high range vocals. I heard hints of like King Diamond in this one, and then like another interlude which was like atmospheric and spacey. So I thought that made this song stand out. And Making Monsters was another one because it was kind of more like a thrash or a groove metal. Now there was this one song by Fight, by that Rob Halford band on their debut album in the 90s. It reminded me of that. It was just like that type of like groovy thrash type of sound, but they also mix in the clean guitars and the distorted. And it was like a catchy type of song, and like lots of like those guitar riffs and those gallops, and they have like the bass guitar like in the outro. So that was one of the best songs in the album. So I think at this point of the album, there are a couple more songs. They weren't as memorable, but I'll just go through them. So we have Say a Prayer with 7 Bullets, more traditional heavy metal, very fast-paced drumming and guitar riffs. These Violent Thrills was very heavy, lots of those like Judas Priest style screams. Although We Destroy, lots of chugging and a faster pace, clean guitars, haunting atmosphere, traditional metal solo, and then the 2 bonus tracks. My favorite, Sin, kind of like a slower groovy galloping rhythm, slower breakdown and melodic solo, and Salvation, traditional metal with galloping high-pitched screams and old school traditional guitar riffs. So that's the whole album. Let me give you my final thoughts. So first I'd like to say I'm glad the band was able to get back together after going through so many different tragedies with their band members, especially losing Mike Howe. He was a singer, and I actually thought that their last album, I think it's called Damned If You Do, I thought that was going to be like their last album, but they actually came back, so I'm glad that they did. I thought the album wasn't too bad. I'm not saying it's not up to the standards of like what I would expect. It's not really as good as their classic albums from the early 80s or 80s to early 90s. But I thought it was a decent addition to their discography. Like, I'm glad they're back, but at the same time, I'm not completely blown away. I would say, like I said before, the middle of the album has like the best songs, and then it kind of like got a little repetitive towards the end, but that's just how I feel right now. I guess it could change if I spend some more time with it, but my score is going to be a 7.5 out of 10, and let me know in the comments what you thought. So please remember to like this video. It helps me with the algorithm. Please comment. I like to respond to comments. And I did a metal church ranking last year, which obviously doesn't include this. But if you want to check it out, I will stick that right there, and you can watch it. I might do an update later, but that's that for now, and see you in the next one.